Ahmedabad air crash. Actually, there has been, I would say, no instance, or I would say very rare instances, where the plane has taken off and just come down within a few seconds. Experts are saying many things like double engine failure, which is a very rare instance in aviation. They're saying that there are a lot of birds, so there can be a possibility that in both the engines, birds might have collided. Second, they're also talking about the weather. In summers, the air near the surface is thin, it is light, and since it is thin air, so it will not be able to give push to the aircraft up. That can also be a reason. But yes, flights do take off in summers and do take off from places where there are temperatures higher than the temperature was there in Ahmedabad. But as of now, we know nothing. Ki bhai, this crash happened due to this reason. Black box has been recovered. Data from there will be analyzed. Apart from it, other investigations are also ongoing. So, this is what we need to know and understand about it. There are multiple videos going rounds on the internet, on the social media, that this was a planned attack by the terrorists and all. I would say that unless and until investigations are complete, don't believe in such kind of news pieces. People are doing anything and everything for views. On the basis of, I would say, or in the name of speculation, they are creating this masala content. So avoid. As aspirants, we need to believe only in those things which are the standpoint of the government. What the government is saying. And the government currently is saying that investigations are ongoing. That is it. Or in this case, Air India is involved. So what does Air India offices say? That is what we need to understand. Okay. So from this viewpoint, let us start. So recent, this crash, which was the aircraft involved? Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner. And the flight name was flight AI 171. This flight was going from Ahmedabad to London. And this flight was coming from, it came from Delhi to Ahmedabad, landed over there, and from there it had to go to London, Gatwick. And it, fell down shortly after takeoff, June 12, 2025. So, a lot of, I would say, aviation safety concerns have been raised, and this has created a lot of fear also among the travelers. This is something which obviously no one wants. So, Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner flight AI 171 route Ahmedabad to London Gatwick event, it faced technical issues and crashed shortly after takeoff. Casualties, almost all 241 passengers and a crew killed except one. He was extremely lucky, I would say. But there's no foundations, or there are no boundaries if I measure his luck. He was sitting on seat 11A, and how he got saved, and he was walking out from the scenario. That was something which was, eye-catching for many of us. It crashed into Meghani Nagar, a densely populated residential and medical college area near Ahmedabad airport. And now this also situation has also risen some, I would say, concerns that should there be habitations, or I would say settlements around or near the airport. So all these things, or all these questions are being raised now, that what should be done. Cause not immediately known of this crash. Investigations are going on. The immediate emergency signaled by the pilot, a mayday call. What is a mayday call? We'll see a bit. But mayday call is a call made by the pilots or the captains of the ship in case of extreme emergencies. You cannot make it like that only. It is a punishable offense if you make it like that. Mayday has to be made in case of extreme emergencies. And Mayday call was given within seconds of takeoff, indicating a life-threatening emergency. No further communication followed, suggesting instant system failure or structural damage. Now, breakdown in real-time air-ground coordination. So there is this ATC, air traffic control. It could not establish further contact with the AI-171. It raises concerns over the efficacy of emergency protocols between the cockpit, where the pilot is still, and the ATC, that is air traffic control, during critical moments. Now, the pilot's experience was not questionable. He was a highly experienced pilot, 8,200 flying hours more than that captain had, including 1,100 hours on the Boeing 787 itself. And this particular experience makes the possibility of human errors less likely, shifting focus towards mechanical failure or technical glitch. The crash in the civilian zone. Impact in residential and medical college area highlights the urgent need for safe buffer zones around airports in urban areas. Now, lot of things with respect to this will be undertaken. So, let us see what happens, how the government will rehabilitate the settlements which are already there. DGCA and safety regulation challenges. Directorate General of Civil Aviation acknowledges the emergency but could not intervene effectively in this. Reveals the need for stronger monitoring systems, quicker response infrastructure, and regular audits of high-risk aircrafts. So, all these things have to be undertaken by DGCA, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation, which is a body under Ministry of Aviation, Government of India. Now, the key aviation terminologies which were used. First was this Mayday call. Emergency radio signal used by aircraft and ships. It is not only by aircraft, it is also used by ships. And why or for what purpose is this emergency call? This emergency radio signal is to request urgent help. It must be used only for genuine emergencies. False calls carry severe penalties. So, then Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, is an attached office of Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India, as I mentioned. The functions of DGCA. Now, this is where UPSC can ask questions in prelims, because it is asking questions from these kind of government bodies. So, first is, it is a regulatory body. It regulates for aviation safety, ensures safety of aircraft, passengers, airline operations in India. But unfortunately, in this case, safety was not ensured. Reason, it is still unknown. Okay. It controls air transport services. It regulates flights within India and those to from the country. So, it is a controller of air transport. What flights should come, what should not come, all these things. It enforces aviation laws, ensures airlines follow air safety rules and maintain aircraft standards. So all these things are the functions of DGCA. Now, black box. Black box is basically kind of a device where all the flight data is recorded. What conversations are going on in the cockpit, everything is recorded in the black box. And black box is stored in a highly insulated zone. Largely it is found in the tails of the aircrafts, and they are susceptible to fire and water. They cannot impact the black box, and recovery of the black box becomes important for understanding and knowing the reasons for the failure. So it is an essential tool for accident investigation. Black box. It is a flight recorder, aircraft must have two types of black box. One is cockpit voice recorder CVR, captures conversations and cockpit sounds. Why accidents generally occur during takeoff or landing? There was a technical glitch due to which the sound was not, getting transmitted. But let us now resume it. That why accidents take place during takeoff or landing. So maximum of these accidents, they take place during this time. And we'll try to understand the reasons behind this. But yes, first let us talk about some statistical evidence related to these phases, that is takeoff and landing. The data from IATA and Boeing shows that most crashes happen during landing. 53% from IATA data, and takeoff initial climb during this time crashes have happened, and Boeing 20%. Cruise phase has the lowest fatal accident rates despite highest exposure. Cruise phase is that phase when the aircrafts are in the air, mid-air. Contributing factors: during takeoff and landing there is limited time and space for correction. When you are in the cruise phase, you have time, you have a lot of space also to maneuver. But during this time, you don't have both of these. Pilots have minimal time and space to react during these phases. No altitude buffer to correct errors or system failures. Altitude buffer means when you're flying in the cruise phase, you can come down or you can go up a bit. You can maneuver, but during landing and takeoff, there is no this altitude buffer available. So you have to do whatever you have to do in that space only, limited space. Aircraft is under maximum stress during this time, during takeoff and landing. Engines and airframe experience maximum pressure to generate lift of the aircrafts. Landing, aircraft must simultaneously manage speed, alignment, descent and runway conditions. Now this lift, definitely it is dependent upon the machine, but there are some geographical features also on which a lot depends. Like the density of the air, the weather conditions, are they suitable for takeoff or not? All these things. Now, these geographical features also play a key role during landing also. Aircrafts must simultaneously manage speed, alignment, descent and runway conditions. There are external risk factors. Lower altitudes are more prone to bird strikes, turbulence, bird strikes in the engine. And when there are bird strikes in the engine, then the engine failure chances rise. Turbulence, weather condition, wind shear, weather condition. Wind shear means how much is the wind able to create that shear force. Shear force is that force which it will lift the plane in the air. And poor visibility. The geographical features, turbulence, wind shear and poor visibility are there, which come into play during takeoff and landing. Pilot workload. Landings are particularly demanding, requiring complex real-time decisions. So, if the pilot is overworked, then, instant decisions, the mind is not so efficient during overworked conditions. So, maybe decision taking can be impacted. Stall risk, especially during takeoff. Wing stall occurs when an aircraft's wing suddenly loses lift. This happens when the angle of attack, angle between wind and the incoming air. So this is the wings of the plane are like this, and the wind is coming this way because the aircraft will be moving this way, and the wind will be coming this way. So you might have noticed that there are some flaps which open up in the wings, so that the wind is not able to go smoothly. Some lift is generated. so that if the rising of those flaps in the wings is too less, the angle is too less between the incoming wind and these flaps, then the lift will not be able to generate. This angle should not be less than 15-20 degrees, it should be more than 15-20 degrees. Leads to turbulent airflows over wing and detachment. Sudden lift drop can happen if these flaps are not completely or not able to open properly, and that is why the maximum accidents happen during takeoff or landing. Next is Boeing 787 Dreamliner features and scrutiny of this particular aircraft. The aircraft type, it is a next generation long haul jet introduced in 2007, and it is made up of carbon fiber composite structure, which is extremely or very light as compared to the previous versions, and that is why it is 25% more fuel efficient also than older models. And there is improved cabin comfort. Cabin comfort means inside the aircraft. Scrutiny, crash intensifies scrutiny on Boeing, and Boeing has already been scrutinized by American government, which is already under pressure from prior 737 MAX crashes. Now, safety concerns and incidents, FAA investigations into production practices. These are, I would say, some of the concerns which have been highlighted by some whistleblowers as well, like Sam Selfer with respect to fuselage fastening and John Barnett on substandard parts being used by Boeing. Now, past incidents, 2013 global grounding due to lithium-ion battery fires, and in 2024 LATAM Airlines 787 plunge. That was due to a human error, but yes, certain, I would say, allegations were already there on Boeing, and some whistleblowers already, blowed the whistle with respect to substandard practices being followed by Boeing during the manufacturing phase of the aircraft. Economic impact of the crash. The fall in Boeing's share price. This has happened. The share prices of Boeing have fell down, and 8% drop in market trading price has been there. Then rise in aviation insurance premiums. Now, seen as a significant event by global insurance industries. Now, obviously, this plane would have been insured, and the insurance companies will have to pay a hefty amount. But they were not taking a hefty amount for premiums, but seeing these accidents and all, they will be raising the insurance amounts from the airlines. The airlines will be passing on that increased amount to the passengers, we the people. So, fare prices may or go up. It is likely to lead to higher premiums worldwide, especially for wide-body aircrafts like the 787. Stricter policy renewals and terms of coverage will be there in such kind of insurances. Reinsurance cost escalation. Reinsurance will also go up. Insurance for large aircraft is typically shared globally via reinsurance. Now, this crash could increase reinsurance costs, particularly if similar incidents occur. So, this is what you need to understand. Financial liability for Air India and Tata Group has increased 500 crore rupees, almost they are bearing. They are giving 1 crore rupees each to the family of the deceased, and 241 people have died, to 241 crore rupees. And then there will be other losses also which the airlines will have to bear, and Air India is under Tata Group, so definitely reputation of Tata Group and financial stress will happen, and reputation will be at stake. Impact on aircraft manufacturing sector. May further delay deliveries or affect demand for Boeing 787 models. Obviously, demand for such kind of models will go down, and in fact, Boeing's business can be impacted. It impacts global aviation production and supply chains. Obviously, other airlines or other aircraft manufacturers will also be, concerned. Impact on India's aviation sector, potential downgrade in global rankings. Stricter regulations and increased scrutiny from international aviation bodies will now happen, and decline in foreign investments due to safety concerns. So, this is what we need to understand about it. And there can be multiple points in the way forward, which you are seeing on the board. But yes, you need to know one thing very clear and straight, that it is not clear as of now what has been the impact of not the impact, but what has been the reason of the crash. Let the reason come out first. All these things are, happening out of speculation. Boeing share prices went down. Obviously, it will go down. Insurance costs will rise. Obviously, they will rise because insurance companies, they will have to bear a hefty price if such kind of accidents are on the rise. And these things, they are very unfortunate. There is less likelihood that it has happened due to a human error, because an aircraft before taking off gets thoroughly checked by the maintenance team. And if there has been any laxity or any, I would say, shortcoming on the maintenance team part, then obviously the perpetrators or the offenders should be punished. So this is what we need to know and understand about it. Way forward, proactive aircraft health checks should be there. Enhanced training to improve pilot and ATC staff training for emergencies, incorporating regular practice and mock drills. Airport buffer zones should be created, means no homes, schools too close to the airport to minimize ground casualties in case of a crash. Aircraft audits ensure older aircraft strictly follow safety rules and undergo more frequent inspections. Smart technology integration, utilize advanced technology for early warning of engine or system malfunctions. Transparent investigations, ensure crash investigations are open, prompt and transparent, using findings to improve safety rules and protocols. And last is international cooperation should be there. Strengthen collaboration with international aviation bodies like ICAO, FAA, NTSB, AAIB for best practices and incident analysis throughout the world. So this is what we need to know and understand about it.